This is a 10-minute call for the start of the breeding show. Again, this is a 10-minute call.
I gotta go pick up the boss lady. I'll just sit here and comfort. Katie. He's like this. What's the name? Lulu. You're coming home with me. I was thinking about trying, because we have a little goat cart. I was thinking about trying to teach her to pull a goat cart. Should. That'd be the attraction of the barn. The girls taught their lambs to pull the goat cart. Oh my god. I love that. Put a paddle on it. Charge so much for the ride. Pumpkin patch. Yeah, next pumpkin patch. You know how much money we make off of pony rides? And cow rides would be even more. Right, that thing about little. It's so cute. Seriously, if you get rid of it, I'll take it. We either got to get rid of it or eat it. Go to your backyard. Just only it's just a yearling, so it's the same age as these steers. I was like, what is this? So, yeah, well, it'll be like a year and a half old. All you. That's fine. Back to the trailer. Just put it in the back seat of the car.
I think they only go first through third. I don't think there's a fourth of those little ones. We are going to start the breeding swine show. So class 1, Ffa Guilt, please make your way to the ring. Luke Snyder, Brooke Taylor, Riley Pollock, and Kimberlyn Alderman. Class 1 of the breeding swine show, Ffa Guilt, please make your way to the ring. Currently in the ring is Class 1 of the breeding swine show, Ffa Guilt. Class 2, please be ready. Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Looks like you can put mine and read off of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll go ahead and start out with the Calico Guilt here today to start this class. Really good in terms of where we start for a breeding piece, in terms of, being the most comfortable in terms of her feet and legs when she gets out and goes here. That's where we definitely need to start. And then as we work our way up on that one, skeleton, she's definitely square and pulled apart. And then when I get up high, she has some shape and dimension. With this one, too, I'd like to say that she is a little bit softer ribbed, so it does make her a little bit more pliable there, a little bit deeper centered. She just has that female look, the one that I think is the most capable to go down and have a set of pigs here, one that I'd be the most confident in this class to take home for myself. So go ahead, give that young lady a good round of applause. She'll be your first place in this class. We get into second place here with that big framed gilt here. This is one that I'd say is probably the pounds heavy one in terms of being the biggest in the class. What do I like and appreciate about this one? She's good still in terms of her pasture and set, still elevated and upright on them. She's still square and genuine in her build. Where do I want to change her? Maybe I want to see her hinge and step just a little bit better out of that rear leg, but still a really good gilt there to be in second. We go ahead and work in third and fourth, and maybe a little bit different in their type and kinds. The one we have in third, I just think is a little bit softer, a little bit more comfortable when she gets out and moves and drives off her feet and legs. One that's just a little bit stouter featured there. Where do we need to change that gilt? We maybe need to make her a little bit trimmer and prettier up through her front head and neck, maybe get a little bit more shape and dimension up high, and then also drop that rear flank down just a little bit more there. We work into our fourth place hog here. Not a bad one in terms of having ultra muscle in terms of if we want to go make some market hogs, but where do we need to change this one? We need to make her softer, more pliable. We need to give her more center of body, and we just need to free her up off of both ends of her skeleton. Really good class to start the breeding show. Go ahead and give each one of them a big round of applause.
Congratulations to Class 1. First place, Riley Pollock. Second place, Brooke Taylor. Third place, Luke Snyder. And fourth place, Kimberlyn Alderman. Next is Class 2, Early Spring Guilt. And at the remainder of this, we will do the Champion and Reserve Guilt Drive.
Single entry gilt here with the young lady out of the last class, and another one that I can say we appreciate. This is one that I'd say is up-headed, tall-fronted, works down a good spine into a shapely hip and hind end. Really good off that rear leg in terms of pushing and planting with good authority there. That's a really good gilt here in this second class. Go ahead and give her a good round of applause as we work into a final drive. Sorry. Are you gonna be able to all get what you're talking about? Yeah, there's a good set out here for the final drive, and I think a duo that kind of complements one another just at different points in stages of life here. The one that I'm going to go ahead and use as your champion is going to be that lighter weight one out of that second class. I'm just more confident in this one's longevity and her ability out in the future. I think she's really cool in terms of her head and neck. Works back, like I said, into a good top line, out into a good hip and hind end, and I think her rear leg is really neat there as well. That's one that I really would like to take home and kind of watch her progress along the way, but a really neat one to go ahead and be your champion. We work into kind of our reserve here, and it's going to be the Calico next. Maybe one that we just need to make a little bit fresher today here, get a little shot more muscle into her, but I think that this is one that today really still good in terms of being big-legged, big-footed, kind of gets around this ring with plenty of motion and mobility, still pliable in her rib and deep there. That's a good one. Give that young lady a big round of applause as well as our remainder here in the ring.
Next in the ring will be our FFA feeder swine class. FFA feeder swine class.
No, it's a feeder pig. It's a feeder, Mom. Yeah, I think they're just doing it all. There's the top. Huh? Really? That's good.
banner and a ribbon. Brand FFA Market Swine. On the brown. I don't know how. It's like that. But you gave him big one. No, you said this? Yeah.
Gonna go ahead and start out this class of feeders with this young lady's wide belted gilt here. This is one that I just appreciate in terms of being the most wide and kind of carrying this up high. Also coupling this with probably the most amount of pliability to that rib and depth to that body. I think this is one that I can say in terms of future and where we're going forward, this would be a great feeder hog that we say here in a few days might go ahead and hang a little bit heavier carcass, or maybe we see a little bit more future here. This is one that maybe we do need to freshen up just a little bit more there through that Hamline hookup, but I'm confident in this one. Big muscled, stout featured, good one still on its feet and legs. Give her a good round of applause. We'll go ahead and work into our other belted hog as our second place one. You know, maybe this one here you're saying just is a little bit bigger there in terms of its rump and hip shape, but I think that this is one that maybe we get a little bit concerned in terms of that frame size. We'd like to see just a little bit more belly to this one here in terms of how big this one is, but I think this is still one that in terms of when we analyze from a muscle standpoint and kind of that shape over the top, we say this is a good one here. Go ahead and give her a good round of applause for second place. We get into third. This is another one that I say is really shapely and dimensional in its build. Plenty of muscle shape there. But what we want to go ahead and say here, we want to get this one just a little bit softer there over that rib. Get a little bit more finish there. Few more days on feed for this feeder hog. Going to make a really good one there. Go ahead and give her a good round of applause as well. We work into the young man's Durack Hog here. This is another one that we can really appreciate. Probably the deepest bellied one in here, but when we go ahead and talk about kind of coupling that with the muscle, maybe the plainest one in terms of the extras there, we want to go ahead and see a shot more there, pull everything apart to make it a little bit wider, and when we do that and we make things wider, that is a correlation with having a little bit more muscle on our skeleton, but still a really good one there, probably really deep there. Give all these kids a good round of applause. They've got some future ahead of them.
Congratulations to exhibitors in the feeder swine class. First place, Lily Wagner. Second place, Tara Rossi. Third place, Betsy Alvarado. And fourth place, Kason Berkovats. Next in your ring is Class 1 of your FFA Market Swine Show.
We'll go ahead and start out with the young man's all Black Hog here. This is one that I can appreciate in terms of coupling, the correct amount of muscle and finish here for a market hog. Maybe on the lighter end of the spectrum here, but still the one that I can appreciate the most. Maybe we are breathing a little bit heavy, but still as this drive continues on, this animal continues to get around the ring quite handily. I'll go ahead and say that too. When I work over the top side of this skeleton here, there's shape and dimension there, and it carries back into that hip and hind end, kind of wedges back there like a slice of cheese. That's what we want to see there, where they get progressively wider. That's one that I can appreciate there. We work into our second place, that young man's Chester appearing hog. That's another really good one that I can appreciate in terms of having enough shape, dimension, and spread up high. Where do I maybe beat this one? Maybe we just want to see a little bit more reach and flex out of that hind leg, but in a market show, this one here is going to go ahead and hit the grid really hard. So go ahead and give that young man a really nice round of applause with that gilt there. We go ahead and work into our third place hog here, and that one still just has a little bit of shape and width, and that's where I can go ahead and appreciate it. This is one that I can say, maybe a little bit plainer in terms of her makeup here, but still this is a hog that gets out, moves through the ring, and when you study this one from the side, there's a little bit of depth there that we can appreciate, and when you study her back into that hip, you see a slight bit of shape there when we compare her to her fellow pen mates here below her. But go ahead and give this young lady a round of applause, a really good one to be here in the third hole. We work into those next two, and that half-belted hog is going to be the one that we sit in fourth. Maybe we see this one as the biggest bodied and the biggest bellied one here in class, but that's sometimes where we get a little bit too far done. So, yes, there is shape, there is spread up high, and there's width up there, but we do get a little bit too far done in terms of how much fat we have on this one. If we could trim it up ever so slightly, this one would be really neat here. But go ahead and give her a nice round of applause with that barrow there. The gilt that we're going to go ahead and round out the class here, just maybe on the opposite end of the spectrum where we get just a little bit too hard there. Yes, we've got plenty of muscle to our skeleton here, but we do need to go ahead and soften her up ever so slightly, throw a shot of fat in that diet, and then we'll go ahead and see her get a little bit more pliability over that rib, open it up just a little bit more, and may go ahead and help those feet and legs get a little bit more flexible. But when we study this one up high, shape and dimension is there, shape and dimensions back through that hip. This young man does a great job showing. Go ahead and give each individual a big round of applause.
Congratulations to your FFA exhibitors in Class 1. First place, Ralph Enriquez. Second place, Jet Tosi. Third place, Itzel Lopez Luke. Fourth place, Jenna Gardinel. And fifth place, Travis Cano. Class 2, please be making your way to the ring. Class 2, FFA Market Swine, please be making your way to the ring.
Well, I never come down. Great distance college. And Melinda's still doing the battle ride stuff. Yeah, we were on the same class. Craig hung out with a different crowd. Craig's a warrior. Yeah, no kidding. The survivor, that's for sure. Yeah.
Our market swine judge today is Eleanor Borba from Atascadero. She went to Atascadero High School and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She's currently getting a master's degree in agribusiness at Texas Tech. Eleanor is currently traveling up and down California, working with individuals on improving their showmanship and livestock raising abilities. She's also raising show pigs with her dad on the Central Coast. Eleanor has attended numerous high school and collegiate livestock judging contests, as well as livestock shows as a competitor. Let's give Eleanor Borba a big round of applause for being our judge today.
We'll go ahead and lead off this next hog class with the painted up hog here. This is one that I can go ahead and appreciate in terms of having, that extra shot of muscle and mass and spread and width up high, and works it back into a good hip and hind end and shapely there. Maybe we do get a little bit wound up in terms of our muscle, but here in terms of a market setting, this one just puts the parts and pieces together there. Go ahead and give that young man a big round of applause with a nice job done here. We'll go ahead and be second here with the young man's white hog. I can go ahead and say that this is another gilt that, has plenty of shape and dimension when you work through this one's upper part of her skeleton. And then when you study it at the ground, there's plenty of width and squareness there. So that is true in terms of her skeleton. Maybe where do we change this one? Maybe we just need to drop her a little bit deeper there in terms of that rear flank, but still a really good one to go ahead and be second there. The young man in third is going to be the one with the white belted hog here on the side of the ring. He's another one that I can say is really good in terms of a side profile. He's long and extended, has that level look about him and works back into a good hip and hind end. Where do we change this hog here? Maybe we need to get a shot more muscle into him to show a little bit more dimension through his skeleton. Maybe back there through that hip, we just need to be a little bit more dimensional, stick out just a little bit more, but still a really good one off feet and legs. This young man does a really nice job as well. We go ahead and get into fourth place. Another one that's just really big and extreme in its kind. Maybe just a little bit too far done, a little bit too much fat and finish on this one skeleton. Maybe we just drop that down in its diet ever so slightly, trim this one up here, and this would be a nice finish hog. We just get too far done here today. And the one that we round out the class with, another one that's really good in terms of length of body, shape and dimension in that skeleton, but we do need to do the opposite thing here with this one and put a shot more fat onto this one. Get some more depth of belly into that one, and then we'd see us a little bit more market oriented here. But go ahead and give these kids a big round of applause. They all did a really nice job. Good futures ahead of them.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 2 Ffa Market Hogs. First place, Kobe Carpenter. Second place, John McMurtry. Third place, Xander Farmer. Fourth place, Abasai Macinas, and fifth place, Elijah Reynolds. Coming into the ring next is Class 3 Ffa Market Swine. You okay, Eleanor? You good? Yeah. No. I can get you some more. I think there should be some out front. I can have Katie grab you some.
sorry. No, you can say everybody tells that. Me, Carly, Judy. Yeah.
Okay, so
Wait, my dad. Yeah, they gave my son the third place ribbon, but then the announcer was fifth place. Yeah, he's the first. I don't know what he's alive, but I just didn't want it to be screwy on him.
Sandy,
I mean,
Check in with my girl that's keeping track.
okay, thank you. Sorry.
No, you're
Yeah,
fine.
I was like, oh, he got third. Then you announced this, and I didn't want him to be last on the
Yeah, for sure.
flyers list.
Katie, you gave a third place, but then we called him as fifth place. Elijah Reynolds. He was fifth? Okay, so you just gave him the wrong ribbon. So it said third on it. Okay. Oh, Katie, Eleanor asked for some water. Can you see if somebody can look in one of those things and grab one? Currently in the ring is Class 3 FFA Market Swine. Class 4, please be ready.
I do. I had to get squared away. Quite cool.
We get it all. But you have to. No, I'm not here.
Well, I mean, you're still kids, but
things are windy. Yeah. They have to do the same thing.
All of our kids.
Yeah. No. When they sold over there. Oh, the one by the gym? Yeah. Yeah. Really? Same thing. Sure. They had to dig out some of it. Oh, yeah. They had to do that. Ah. Starting to go down a little bit. Needs to. Needs to table up.
what do you think about it?
I haven't watched it. It's pretty good though. Yeah. No?
I'll do that. Oh, yeah.
I got it. We did it.
didn't look so much.
Fight, you look so.
All right, we're going to go ahead and lead off this class with the young ladies belted gilt right here in front of me. I think this one just here for this market show in particular couples everything together in terms of look and style from the side, works it back into a shapely hip and hind end. And then when we study this one, when you get right over the top of her, just has that ultra kind of bold rib shape to her, pliable there, works back. And when we study this one motor around the ring, she's definitely square and genuine in her step, and that's something that we want to see here. We want to see them come out of their hip, go into their hock and down to the ground. We don't want to see them pushing too far or coming too far inside. This one just kind of complements all directions there. Give that young lady a good job there for a nice job done raising that one. We go ahead and work into the young lady's second place hog here. This is a barrow that's kind of similar in terms of its type and kind. When you study this one from the side, elegant in terms of that front end, works into a level top line there and kind of back into a big and bold hip and hind end. Where do we change this one, or where do we maybe get beat? Maybe just a shot more dimension to this one in all aspects, and she might have that one handily, but still a really good one here for second place as she couples there with that class winner as she's square genuine in her build. Go ahead and give those pair a really big round of applause there for first and second. We work into third place with that young lady's Yorkshire appearing female. That's another one that I can appreciate in terms of having enough muscle in her makeup, being enough, shape and spread up high, working back into a good enough functional hip and hind end. This one too, I think, just has enough body to her to where she can go ahead and hang a good carcass. Go ahead and give this young lady a good round of applause. She's got a nice female here for a third hole. As we start working into the hogs here, we start facing a common problem from 4 through 8. I start finding them just getting a little bit plainer in their makeup. Maybe we need to trim them up in their design, and maybe we need to drop the fat content in our diet just a little bit, or maybe if we're supplementing, we need to drop that a little bit. And then we get on the other end of the spectrum where we maybe need to add a shot more protein into that diet to get a little bit more muscle build and some rib built into these hogs. I think we face that common problem of just getting plain in the design, and where do we change that? It changes in the feed pan. It's nothing that we can do in terms of walking or exercising. It's just something that we do in terms of changing that content. So the majority here, when we start working, I just want to say that we need to get a little bit more shape blown into these hogs, cut the fat content down just a little bit, and maybe we need to work on seeing where that kind of plays in terms of selecting them for their feet and legs, okay? Feed plays a huge game on their feet and legs. If we've got too much protein in their diet and they're too hot, they may get a little bit tight and wound up on those feet and legs. If we don't have them, too hot on that diet, they might come inside their skeleton and come what we call taper in. We don't want to see that on either end. That's kind of where I'm going and sorting as well. It plays a characteristic, but I think each individual does a great job here in terms of getting these animals stuck and shown in the show ring. They're all driving them to their best potential, and we've got more showing to do tomorrow. Go ahead and give each one of them a big round of applause here.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 3 FFA Market Swine. First place, Ivy Sanchez. Second place, Sierra Kingsford. Third place, Olivia Ellis. Fourth place, Tara Rossi. Fifth place, Alyssa Trulson. Sixth place, Darby Swanson. Seventh place, Justin Chandler. And eighth place, Cade Johnson. Next in the ring is Class 4. Class 5, please be ready.
Same thing with boy. Okay. I'm older.
Still FFA, we still got 4 big.
We tried and it didn't work. We tried it at the beginning.
No, not that one. The other
Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the one we tried, and we couldn't get it to work. Okay. I mean, it'd be probably nice.
Yeah.
Test. No. Okay.
Get a longer stick. You can't tell.
Test. Eleanor. Use this one now. Okay. So just power, or you can leave the power on and just mute it if you want. It's your choice. Okay. No, we don't have to share. Katie, I'm just going through after the classes and then going on to the bred and fed and just putting the placements in. One of them is from the feeders. It's okay, right? I think he's done the best out of anybody so far. Yeah. Currently in the ring is Class 4 FFA Market Swine, Class 5. Please be ready. So power, or leave the power on and then mute.
We're going to go ahead and lead off with the young man's thin belted gilt over on the far side of the ring there. That's one that I think just hits the ring in terms of having look and show presence, you know, being square and wide in terms of its footwork and still carrying that big foot and leg under it. And then when you get up and start onto the top end of this one skeleton, this is one that has plenty of shape, plenty of mass and width, carries it back into a square hip and hind end, and is just ultra functional in her build. That's a good one to go ahead and start the class here. I really appreciate that gilt here in this class. We go ahead and sit the young man's all black hog here in second. That's another really good one that kind of is comparison in terms of when we study the true genuine width and build to this one. Really big and wide and bold up high, carries that back into a hip and hind end that he's still able to carry out off that foot and leg. I think this is one that maybe we get a shot more shape and dimension into that hind end and maybe just a little bit more look up front, but a really good one to sit in that second hole. We get into third place, and that young lady's predominantly white hog is one that I can appreciate in terms of having a show look, really level from the point of her blade back to her hip and out of her hind end. Another one that when you study the foot and bone work on this one, big, stout, and rugged there, but it fits the skeleton in the build. I think this is a good one for a third hole here. Where do I change this female and maybe make her reach into those top two holes? We just open her up, make her a little bit more pliable through that top side of her rib, but still a really good one to go ahead and be there in third. We start working into our fourth hole here, and I think this is another one I can appreciate in terms of build, being long and level in terms of its look from the side, still having a little bit of belly there, but where do we change it? We get some more protein in that diet, throw a little bit more muscle and shape into the build, and then we're able to work through that. As we start working throughout the end of this drive here, we get looking at the hogs and we kind of run into the same problem. Where do we see it? We need to throw a little bit more shape into some of these pigs. We need to maybe tone them down just ever so slightly, or maybe we just get a little bit past done here, such as this one. Maybe we just need to lay them off the feed pan a little bit earlier, preserve a little bit of that shape and dimension, make sure we don't cover it with too much fat. I think we run into that problem in our lower holes, but I think each individual does a great job getting these individuals shown. Go ahead and give them a good round of applause. We'll work into our next class.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 4 FFA Market Hogs. First place, Maxiel Lopez Mojaro. Second place, Sabino Palestino. Third place, Karma McKee. Fourth place, Larissa Simpson. Fifth place, Kobe Coons. Sixth place, Jaden Coons. And seventh place, Jasmine Garcia. Coming into the ring next is Class 5. Class 6, please be ready. Eleanor, after Class 6 is our Ffa Champion Drive. Okay? Class 5. Currently in the ring is Class 5 FFA Market Swine. Class 6, please be ready. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Another good market hog class here, and one where you got to go ahead and kind of figure out where you want to set your priorities. Do you want to go ahead and go with the one that's got all the mass and the power, maybe slowing down just a little bit on feet and legs? Or do you want to go with the one that's maybe just a little bit more reserved and not as much shape to its skeleton? For me, I'm going to go with that one that's just more powerful, more mass there, has just that extra amount of shot of shape, carries it back into that hip and hind end. When this one was coming into the ring, that's a show pony kind of hog there. Have head square up in the air, ready to go and roll, one that's just kind of ready to hit the show ring at any point in time. I think that's a good one to start the class. Where do we change him ever so slightly, just trim him up? Maybe we're a little bit past prime, but still a good one here to start. We get here in second, and another one that I can really appreciate in terms of being big, wide, and square, but maybe just doesn't have that ultra look of shape there. When you study him from the profile, maybe we just want to see a little bit more back through that hip and hind end when compared to our class winner. Really hard to get to that extra mass level there. Another really good one to go ahead and be with competitor. We work into our third place hog, another all black one that's really good in terms of being cool in its look from the side, long and extended up front, tall out of the point of the shoulder, and works back into a square hip and hind end. Also, when we study this one off those legs, we talk about being square and genuine. This is one that takes a good step, almost like a cattle, big long step, fills in tracks, and is very square where it there. So that's another good thing to prioritize on that hog. But maybe we just need to blow a little bit more rib into him. Just doesn't kind of match the amount of mass that we have alongside these competitors here, but a really good one here in third. We start working into fourth, fifth, and sixth here. Some really good hogs in terms of their build, in terms of being long-bodied, having a shot of look from the side, and being, good in their build out of each one's hip and hind leg. But where do we change them? We need to take the muscle and mass in these guys and up it, take them and get a little bit more freshness into their body. Maybe we are a few days past on the feed pan, but still a really good set of hogs here. Go ahead and give each individual a really big round of applause for a job well done.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 5 FFA Market Swine. First place, Miley Patton. Second place, Madison Harms. Third place, Charlie McDivitt. Fourth place, Elizabeth Billman. Fifth place, Carson Schmidt. And sixth place, Josiah Lemons. Next in the ring is Class 6. Pigs ranging in weight from 285 to 290 pounds. After Class 6, we will do the Champion FFA Drive.
Thank you.
Currently in the ring is Class 6 FFA Market Swine. At the conclusion of Class 6, we will bring back the first and second from each FFA class to do the Ffa Champion Drive. Please be ready.
A good one to go ahead and start off the class here. This young man's all Black Hog. This is one that's big-legged in terms of kind of that foot and bone structure, big and stout there, works up into, a lot of muscle and mass in this top end of the skeleton. One that's maybe just a little bit too far gone in terms of days on feed, a little bit past our prime in terms of, where we're at. But where do we go ahead and focus on? We've got plenty of mass and width throughout our skeleton. We'll go ahead and prioritize there and give that young man the upper hand with that one. We go ahead and work into second place, and another one that I can appreciate in terms of being wide and square in its makeup, carries it up to the top side of his skeleton. Where do we get beat here? Maybe just not as big-footed and stout-legged. Maybe we need to add just an extra shot of dimension and look to the side there, but another one that's really big frames. This one too, I just like to say a little bit too far gone in terms of feet, and kind of a synopsis for the class as a whole. We just get a little bit further gone, a few days past, prime market weight, but I think here we can go ahead and work past it, kind of find our holes, checks and balances here, and that's one that we can go ahead and prioritize with. We work into third place, and that's another good hog in terms of being wide and open up high, having enough depth of body and center. Where do we change this one as well? We add a little more shape and dimension, kind of maybe shave off a little bit more belly there, give it a little bit better look from the profile, and then that'd be one that we'd say be a really good market hog. But this is one that we can go ahead and say falls really nicely into that third hole there. We start working into the fourth place hole. That's another good one in terms of being big and bold in terms of its center of cavity, carrying it back into a big hip and hind end. But this is one that just gets really plain in her makeup. We want to go ahead and add that extra, make her more pliable and opened up high, and then we'd go ahead and see kind of everything carry back a little bit. When we go ahead and talk about it as well, we talk about being fresh. When we study this one's hide, she starts to get a few wrinkles in it, and this young lady probably said, well, maybe we fell off some hydration here, maybe we didn't get the amount of water we wanted in, but that would go ahead and kind of affect this one's freshness, and I think that follows suit for the rest of them here. They just get plain their design. Maybe it's that we're a little bit past weight, but we do need to see these animals all have a shot more to them in terms of mass, muscle, and dimension. But go ahead and give each individual a big round of applause for a job well done.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 6. First place, Caden Hilliard. Second place, Audrina Banta. Third place, Brock Carter. Fourth place, Cora Van Nest. Fifth place, Bodie Garcia. Sixth place, Owen Ardnall. Seventh place, Morgan Booth. Next in the ring is our first and seconds coming back for our FFA Champion Drive.
The days off.
Thank you.
Market ready? Yeah. All right, back there. Can you toss them up here? I'm gonna put them up here. And then make sure when you write champion in there that we write supreme champion and we write because the goats and the sheep weren't like that. They just had the word champion in them. So I gotta go back through and change them.
Champion next one, and then they decided the bottom part where you have.
They finally brought ice.
Okay, it's the same as the earlier shows. Like have to do with the entry number all in that same line when I pull it out.
So if they're champion, FFA, or 4-H, then where do you want to
You
put
want both.
supreme next to it?
Yeah.
Too? Okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
put supreme champion and
Okay.
then put the next.
I had asked her and she said write it where the color is.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
But I'll change it for this.
Okay. Just before you get through these
Yes,
champions.
yes.
Sometimes I don't catch it. So,
Yes.
you know. How's it going? Fantastic. So much. We're in Bishop. How do we not have fun? That's where I would say it's yeah. It's better. There's actually some big ones. Right? Okay, this would be Ffa Champion.
A good set that we dropped in here for the FFA final drive here tonight, and I think that every one of them kind of complements one another in terms of having that extra shot of from the side, and then we work into the kind of rest of their body parts here, and I think every one of them kind of puts everything together the same, wide, big, and square, has plenty of shape and dimension throughout, but it's just kind of where we want to fall and prioritize for me today. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the one that I'm going to use. We talked about him kind of being the powerhouse, that ultra tremendous, massive one in class, just one that puts the parts and pieces together, maybe getting a little bit tired in terms of kind of the drive. Go ahead and look past it here today. That young lady's thinner belted hog over there on the far side of the ring, just ultra extreme, a really neat one to go ahead and be your champion here. Maybe we're pushing the limits, but that's one that still held it together to the end. She has that one fresh, bold, and open up. Nice job, young lady. We go ahead and start looking for a reserve here, and I've got one that's coupled together with that one pretty neatly. This one here, maybe just a little bit trimmer in terms of its build, but still has that extra shape and dimension up high, pulled apart and wide and square in its build. One that I'd say, maybe just doesn't have that extra oomph in terms of its body type and skeleton. The young man's Guilt here in front of me, that's going to be your reserve. I think this one's really good in terms of its from the side. That one just hits me second best here today. Go ahead and give him a good round of applause.
Class 4. All right, how many head you got in your next class?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Congratulations, your champion FFA Market Hog, Miley Patton, and your reserve FFA Market Hog, Maxiel Lopez Maharo. Next in the ring will be Class 7, 4-H Market Swine. Please be ready. Class 7, 4-H Market Swine. Next in the ring, Class 7, 4-H Market Swine. Hogs ranging in weight from 205 to 218 pounds. Currently in the ring is Class 7, 4-H Market Swine. Hogs ranging in weight from 205 to 218 pounds. Class 8, please be ready.
Go ahead and start out with the young lady's barrow. That's one that I can go ahead and appreciate in terms of its look and build. Just has that show pig look from the side. Maybe we need to clean him up there in his sheath ever so slightly, but one that puts the parts and pieces together, and when it's motoring around the ring, looks quite nice. Has that coupled ability, that extra bold rib there, and kind of works it back into a good hip and hind end. I think that's a nice place to start here for our first class here. We go ahead and work into our second place hog, another one that complements our class winner in terms of being bold and wide in its makeup. You know, maybe a big foot and stout leg on this one. Where do we want to change this one ever so slightly? Just drop her back there in that rear flank, give her a shot more belly there. That one goes ahead and does a really good job here in second place. Give that young man a big round of applause. We start to work into our third place hog, and we'll go ahead and say that we just need to add a shot more body to this one in terms of kind of what we're working with here today. Have plenty of muscle shape and dimension through our forearm, back into our hip and hind end, but where do we need to change this one? We've got to kind of drop it down, give it a little bit more width throughout, and give it more belly there, but that's another good one that has a good show pick look from the side, and being at a lighter weight does a nice job there in this class. We go ahead and start working through to fourth. That's another one that gives a good look, big and burly in terms of its makeup, big and wide and square up here, up high. Another one that when we study it going away, maybe wants to get a little bit choppy on those rear legs, but maybe it's correlated to that extra muscle mass that we have up high, but another good one to sit there in fourth. We start working into fifth, sixth, and seventh here today, and we run into the same problem. We just get a little bit plainer in our makeup. We need to add a shot more muscle into our build and just open us up ever so slightly. Maybe here with the young man's hog at a lighter weight, we just need to tone this one down on its fat content, give it a little bit more time to grow into its frame before we hit it that hard. But a really good class here, a good set of young people to go ahead and start off 4-H show. Give them a big round of applause for a job well done.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 7 4-H Market Hogs. First place, J.C. Eaton. Second place, Aiden Rizzo. Third place, Lily Wagner. Fourth place, Jackson Jacobson. Fifth place, Reese Warner. Sixth place, Sergio Orozco. And seventh place, Eva Bell Cleland. Next in the ring is Class 8. Hogs ranging in weight from 220 to 230 pounds. Class 9, please be ready.
Like this.
This is first. That's second. Got it. A really good blue masked hog here to go ahead and start, and prioritized here is from the profile. This one just gives you an extra good look, up headed, tall fronted, and kind of level in its makeup. Works back into a good hip and hind end. This one's really good in terms of motoring around the ring, and when you study this one's shape and dimension, really good there. Maybe we need to make it just a little bit bolder up through the top side of the rib, but really finish and muscle is complementary here. This does a good job. Young man does a great job showing this gilt. Give him a good round of applause here. We work into our second place hog here that the young lady's showing, and another good one in terms of when you look at it from the side, maybe we do get a little bit wider over the top of our skeleton, but when we step back and we study this one, maybe from the side, we just need a shot more dimension, but nothing taking away from the look out of the front end in this one. Go ahead and give this young lady a big round of applause. She did a heck of a job showing as well. We work into our third place hog next. This is one that we talk about being ultra massive in terms of its build, having plenty of shape and design, kind of working that back into its hip and hind end. Maybe we just get a little bit harder and tighter in terms of our heart and rib, but this is one that I can say has plenty of muscle, is going to go to the rail, hang a very great carcass for this young lady, and do an awesome job here at finish. Also does a great job getting this one presented out in the ring. Go ahead and give her a really big round of applause. We work into our fourth place hog, and this is one that has plenty of shape, plenty of mass for its size and kind. Maybe we're just a little bit harder and tighter in terms of our rib and belly. We need to it down, get a little bit more fat in that diet. As we work into our fifth place hog, maybe we get on the opposite end of the spectrum. We have that shape, we have that mass up high, but maybe just cover it up with a little bit too much fat, and we need to reduce it ever so slightly. Go ahead and give those two individuals a big round of applause. As we start into the bottom end of this class, we just run into kind of the same figurative problem here. We just maybe don't have the ultra amount of body or belly to us. We maybe need to have a little bit more opened up to the top side of our skeleton, a little bit wider there, and pull us apart at the ground. But I think collectively we do a great job out here raising these hogs. Each individual has put a tremendous amount of work in, and they all deserve a round of applause here today. Go ahead and give them one.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 8 4-H Market Hogs. First place, Hunter Daly. Second place, London Russell. Third place, Casey Stamper. Fourth place, Casey Stamper. Fifth place, Peter Charlie Jr. Sixth place, Aurora Cleland. Seventh place, Reed Carpenter. And eighth place, Andy Keith. Next coming in the ring is Class 9. Hogs ranging in weight from 233 to 240 pounds. Class 10, please be ready.
On that last class for Casey, she has that third and fourth right in the special place on the fourth, block from sale.
Block from sale.
Yeah, those words, block from sale.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and start out with the young ladies belted guild here right in front of me. This is one that just couples everything together. I think we the front end of this one skeleton. She's got length and extension, carries it back into a tall blade there, works into a shapely top, back into a good hip and hind end, and just like I said, puts all the parts and pieces together. As a market hog, still motors around well enough off its feet and legs, gonna get to the feed pan and back to the water trough plenty well enough. That's a good one to go ahead and start the class here. We go ahead and follow suit second here with one that has that same touch of look from the side, elegant and extended up, tall shouldered there. And when you really step in and study this one over the top, this one is wide and has, maybe a shot more touch of kind of expansion there to the top side of its rib. And when you study this one going away, it is true in terms of its muscle mass as it carries that hind leg square and genuine down to the ground. That's one that I can appreciate. Maybe just a touch more shape and dimension, maybe a little bit more mass to this one, just gets outpowered by its contender here. We work into our third place hog, and another one that I can appreciate in terms of being big in its frame, bold in its kind, and deep. Maybe we just get a little bit too far done in terms of our finish. We need to trim this one up ever so slightly portion of its body, but still a really good one to go ahead and be there in third. We get into fourth place, another one that's big and bold. We study this one in terms of kind of coupling shape and finish there. That one does it okay, but maybe we get a little bit too wasty there at the bottom portion of our belly, but that's still a really good hog there. We start to work into the bottom end here, and maybe we just need to add a touch more muscle to these hogs, maybe get them a little bit more depth. I talk to these individuals about their animals, but go ahead and give each individual a big round of applause.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 9, 4-H Market Swine. First place, Shaylin Ludwig. Second place, Ben Kemp. Third place, Riley Pollock. Fourth place, Bo Tanner. Fifth place, Blake Phillips. Sixth place, Riley Phillips. Seventh place, Reese Buffington. Eighth place, Samantha Rhodes. Next is Class 10 hogs ranging in weight from 245 to 250 pounds. Currently in the ring is Class 10 4-H Market Swine. Hogs ranging in weight from 245 to 250 pounds. Next up is Class 11 4-H Market Swine. Hogs ranging in weight from 252 to 262 pounds.
We'll go ahead and start out the class with the white sock gilt here directly in front of me. One that's just ultra massive and extreme in its build. You know, maybe this one does push the end in terms of kind of where we place those rear legs. But when we look past that, this one is big and bold, has the most amount of muscle, has the most amount of mass, and couples it with a good set there under its belly. I think this is a really good one to go and start out the class here. Just kind of the outlier one to start. We go ahead and work into second and third, and those are two that are similar in their type and kind. I think these are two that are really tall at the point of their shoulder, but I think the one that we study here in second is just a little bit more massive and has a little bit more width and muscle when we study them directly going away from us, just more there down in that lower ham and stifle muscle there. Just one that I think might hang a little bit better carcass, a little bit more market oriented here today. Take nothing away from that one and third, still gives that really good show presence from the side. Another one that's good in terms of having that center of body and build there, but maybe just a touch more shape and mass might make it set there above its contenders, but I think this is one that goes ahead, does everything correct. These top three coupled all together really well. Go ahead and give that top end a good round of applause here. We start working into fourth place here today, and I think we just start to get a little bit plainer in our design. This is one that's still big and bold and open up in its build, has plenty of shape and mass, but when we talk about how do we kind of make that show a little bit more, we just shave a little bit of our fat off here, and we make sure that that's visibly available here to the eye. We take it down in our fat content in our diet like we spoke about earlier, but still a really good one, has enough width, has enough mass, does a great job showing. We get into fifth place here today, another one that's big and bold in its kind, really wide, really massive, but another one just too far cooked and too far gone here today in terms of being a little bit plainer. We need to freshen them up is what it's called. Make them look a little bit fresher here today is what we say, but still a really good hog here with plenty of body to them. We start working into the bottom end here today, and we kind of run into the same problem as we have earlier. We just need to get a shot more shape, a shot more muscle into these hogs. Just see them come out here with more to them, be a little bit more market oriented here today, but each individual does an amazing job showing. Hats off to them for a job well done. We'll see them back here tomorrow for showmanship.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 10. First place, Jillian Urton. Second place, Waylon Russell. Third place, Ben Kemp. Fourth place, Jesse Ludwig. Fifth place, Avery McGraw. Sixth place, Andy Keith. Seventh place, Dylan Mitchner. Eighth place, Taryn Mitchner. Next up is Class 11, hogs ranging in weight from 252 to 262 pounds. Class 12, please be ready.
How many total?
Oh. And my beer drinking. My beer drinking too.
There. We can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, but I won't be here. Yeah. Hey, is it 8 again? Wait on 8.
10.
Yeah, 10.
We'll sort bottom.
Currently in the ring is Class 11 4-H Market Swine, ranging in from 252 to 262 pounds. Next up is Class 12 Hogs, ranging in weight from 265 to 272 pounds. Class 12, please be ready.
The young ladies barrel, I'll go ahead and start the class with one that's here with just plenty of width, plenty of mass, like we've talked about all day. You know, when we look over the top side of this one skeleton, again, talking to a young man in this class about how we want their rib to look. We want it to look a little bit like a wine barrel instead of like a sheet of paper making a box. So this one does have that wine barrel configuration, compares it and compiles it enough with that muscle and mass. I think this is one that just has plenty of it there, couples it the best. Go ahead and give that young lady a good round of applause for getting that one stuck as well. The young man we'll have in second has another hog that is plenty good in terms of being square and genuine, carries plenty of mass throughout its skeleton. Where do we change this one, though? Maybe we want to freshen it up right there at Hamloin Junction. His wrinkles start to come in. Maybe he didn't get the most amount of water into him today, but really, really a nice hog in terms of having that ultra amount of mass and shape. Really good job here. Young man does a great job showing that female as well. We get into third and fourth, and these are two hogs that are comparatively the same. I think that we see kind of some similarities and some differences between the two. Went ahead and sided with the one that just kind of has everything to her, has that width and mass, has plenty of belly to her. And then when we study this one off its feet and legs, square in all regards there, up on her toes as well. That's a good one to be in third. And the young lady, hats off to her for showing out here multiple times today. We go ahead and work into our fourth place animal. Another one really good in terms of its look, tall and elegant. Where does this one get beat? Maybe we need to have a little bit more shape there through that hind end when we study it from the profile. So that means just a little bit more jump out of that hip at us, but a really good one to be there in fourth. We work into the young man here in fifth with this all white pig. He does a really great job getting this one show. This one's tall and elegant, level in its makeup, and works into a square hip and hind end. Maybe we just need to have a touch more of everything to this one. And this is the young man I talked with about having that wine barrel rib there. I like that on this one, but really, really great class here. He does an awesome job showing as well. I talked to the competitors each individually that exited the ring already about what we'd like to change about their animals, but take nothing away from them. They all did a great job showing. Give each individual a big round of applause.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 11. First place, Allison Norris. Second place, Blake Phillips. Third place, Ellie Boyd. Fourth place, Ellie Boyd. Fifth place, Ivan Ruiz Castro. Sixth place, Mia Sosi. Seventh place, Stephen Banta. Eighth place, Evie Carter. Ninth place, Savannah Gastelum. And 10th place, Lexi Johnson. Next in the ring is Class 12. Hogs ranging in weight from 265 to 272 pounds. Class 13, please be ready.
Okay. Is there anything else that's close to that? Or are they all like bottom? Four. Yeah. That's not really close.
Two, so a second, 2 fourths, and a fifth. The other ones are 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. The seconds and the fourths back. Just like 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
Like just if it's a second and 2 fourths. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Just bring those 3 back.
Okay.
Because then that gives them a real big products, and my eyes are burning. They're actually using laser stuff. Oh my god, it's coming home.
the special placing spot put.
Yeah.
Come back.
Yeah. And then announce them on the mic
Okay.
that we'll need them to come back after
After
the Supreme Drive.
Champion Drive.
Yeah, and we'll do that and then go out to the barn and do 10 of 3.
Okay.
So we'll be done in the ring.
Okay.
Hear you guys talking, but it
yeah,
doesn't matter to me. But they can online. They could probably hear what you're saying.
I dropped one along the way.
We'll start the class off with the outlier here today. This one's got the white socks. She does a great job getting this one presented, but let's talk about the pig in terms of its head and neck. Works back into that level top line, carries it out through that hip and hind end, and then we study this one's body parts in terms of muscle, fat, and finish. Kind of couples it together quite nicely, and we talk about that look of dimension that we want through the hip from the side. This is what we have here today in this individual. This one too, still plenty fresh. Maybe we're getting on to the end side here, but I think for this class, a fresh enough individual to go ahead and lead off. That's a good hog to start here. The one we have here in second, taking nothing away. This is one that I couples there quite nicely as well in terms of just being big and open up, a wide and bold one. Where do we change this one, or where does it get beat? Maybe not as cool and extended out through the front end of that skeleton, and maybe we need to square it up out through that hip from the side just a little bit more, but I think this is one that still motors around the ring plenty well. A good spot to sit here in second for that young lady. Go ahead and get into the third place hog. This is one that also we kind of study that and spread up high. This one carries that all throughout, but where do we change it? We want to drop that rear flank down ever so slightly, maybe a little bit more fat diet just to make sure that that happens, but still a really good hog here. I think this is a good top trio to work through here, and then we start working our fourth and fifth animals, and I think we find some subtle differences between the two, but we can see that they both are two hogs that are big and wide in their build. They carry that when you study their feet and legs from the top of their skeleton all the way down. But where do we change both of these individuals? We make them a little bit fresher, a little bit more shapely and dimensional from the profile, but still a really good set of hogs here. I talked to the individuals that went back already, giving each individual from this class a big round of applause. Probably the deepest class we've hit so far.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 12 4-H Market Hogs. First place, Turquoise Stone. Second place, Brooke Taylor. Third place, Tristan Charlie. Fourth place, Allie McKay. Fifth place, Liliana Whitmore. Sixth place, Reese Buffington. Seventh place, Riley Van Nest. Eighth place, Connor Johnston. And ninth place, Trinity Blackburn. Next in the ring is Class 13. Hogs ranging in weight from 275 to 283 pounds. Please make your way ringside. Class 14, please be ready.
Yeah, and then just keep doing it.
Okay. We will be having the Bred and Fed Market Show after the Supreme Champion Drive. We will have 3 exhibitors coming back for the Bred and Fed show. We have Audrina Banta, Kaysen Berkovats, and Larissa Simpson. You will be coming back for the Bred and Fed Market Show after the Supreme Champion Drive. Currently in the ring is Class 13 4-H Market Swine. Next up is Class 14 4-H Market Swine. Please be ready. At the conclusion of Class 14, we will have our champion at 4-H Drive.
Ride that pig.
Go ahead and start out the class here with the young ladies wide belted barrow. That's a really neat one in terms of kind of the way this one wedges like we talked about earlier today. You know, maybe not the most massive and opened up top side of his blade, but when we study kind of everything going back, that width kind of carries back and we're square and wide and just keep continuing with that mass. I think this is one that couples finish quite nicely as well. Young lady does an amazing job showing this pig as well. Hats off to her today. We go ahead and get into our second place here. This is one that I think kind of withstands and holds up to that mass input there. When we study the hip and hind end, just super bold and wide. But where do we get beat here? Maybe we just want to change the look of this one from the profile ever so slightly. Maybe we want to clean it up just slightly through the front end of this pig. But really another good one. Couples quite nicely with our class winner here. We start working into the all Black Hog, who's our third here. Maybe another one that you say had good presence from the side and from the profile, but you know, maybe this one just needs to give us a shot more of shape and dimension when we study him from the side. But the young lady does an amazing job presenting this level made pig. Go ahead and give these two a round of applause. We get into fourth and fifth, and we have some give and take here, and kind of where do we side? What do we find to like? When we get into fourth place, I think that I just find a little bit more shape, spread, and mass up high, kind of work with a little bit more pliability there, but taking nothing away from the one that we have in fifth, kind of has that same amount of look, but just a little bit plainer in its design. When you study them from the profile, take nothing away from those individuals there. They do a great job presenting these hogs. We get into sixth place with the young man across the ring there with that blue. Does a really nice job showing. What do we like about this pig? This one's square, has that good look from the side, and does have a really good shape when you get over the top of him. But what do we want to do? We still want to pull everything apart ever so slightly, drop that belly down just a little bit. Young man does a great job showing. Go ahead and give everybody a great round of applause for a job well done.
Congratulations to the exhibitors in Class 13. First place, Kylie Simpson. Second place, Ruger Talbot. Third place, Hannah Yunt. Fourth place, Thomas Jackson. Fifth place, Carson Hohenstein. Sixth place, Luke Snyder. Seventh place, Savannah Gastelum. Next in class is Class 14. Hogs ranging in weight from 285 to 310 pounds. At the conclusion of Class 14, we'll have our 4-H Champion Drive.
I mean, this is 8. 5. Oh, we don't have to eat that one. First and second up there to hold him, so yeah. Well, first and second pinned again.
If you want to bring our first out, oh, you mean the ones
From this last class?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Awesome job, buddy. Great job today.
Thank you.
Seconds ready. We're just gonna have first about until seconds to be ready. Okay.
At the conclusion of class 14, we will have our 4-H champion drive. We will be bringing back first places. Second places need to be ready. Again, after the conclusion of class 14, we will have our 4-H champion drive. We will be bringing back first places. Second places need to be ready.
There'll probably
Okay. So, Larissa Simpson, you are one of them, right?
so I have to show
So
it.
after
Yeah.
the Supreme drive, then you'll bring your pig back.
Who else? Is Travis Queen on?
No. Jason
No.
Berkovats and Andrina Banta.
You better come back. You have to come back. No, so we only, if they place lower in class, we don't bring them back. So it kind of is like a cut. So we only bring back the ones that place in the top end of their class. So our judge doesn't have to look at all of them again. She only has to look at the top few that she really has in contention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reminder, after the Supreme drive, we will have our bred and fed market class. Coming back for that is Larissa Simpson, Kaysen Birkenvats, and Adrina Banta.
Well, I'm ready for bed.
We'll go ahead and start off the class with the young lady's belted hog here. She does a great job presenting this one, and this is just kind of the show pony out of the class. Taller fronted, long bodied, but still has plenty of shape and dimension. When you get over the top of this one, just couples it right. Also has that kind of squareness and width that we need off of both ends of the skeleton. She does an awesome job. Give her a great deal of a round of applause here. The one that we have in second here is going to be a young lady spotted up looking hog. This is one that has an ultra amount of mass here. When you study that hip and hind end, plenty of shape and plenty of dimension throughout the skeleton. Where does this one get beat? Just maybe isn't as cool from the profile in terms of when we study that look, but still a really good hog to go ahead and wind up in second. We get into third place here. The young man's all white gilt. This is a really good one in terms of, I talked with him, having that spread and shape up high, but maybe this is one that just gets a little bit taller in her frame, maybe not as stout in its feature, but definitely still does a great job, and he does an awesome job showing and presenting this one. We get into fourth and fifth here, and we can go back and forth between the two here, whether you want to take one that's got a shot more shape and dimension up high, or you want to take one that maybe just has a little bit more belly. I think both of them need to still more dimension and more muscle laid into their skeleton, but these individuals still did a great job raising these hogs. Give them both a big round of applause here. We'll go ahead and work into a drive.
Congratulations to exhibitors in Class 14. First place, Hannah Yount. Second place, Peyton Hohenstein. Third place, Ash McKay. Fourth place, Sage Lancaster. Fifth place, Kano Graves. We are bringing back the first places for your 4-H Champion Drive. Second places, please be ready.
No, that's total though. 4-H, how many were there? I want to say, I think 8 or 9. 8 of them.
We're waiting on 7.
So do you do champions? Like, how does that work for you? First place, you have to, the first place out of the class win, and the second place has to come in there. So the next step's in there. Yeah.
Just want to start off by saying, as we close out the evening, congratulations to all individuals that have come out and shown. It does take a great deal of work, and, it's not usually just an individual effort, but it's a whole team, whether it be you and your family, you and your advisors, you and your friends, however it may be. It does take a lot of work and a lot of time, so I commend you for that. Go exhibitors and thank those who have helped you get to this point. Make sure that they know that you appreciate getting out here, being able to do this. Not everybody has this opportunity, and it's really cool when we do get to do this. I grew up in the livestock industry, showing livestock, raising livestock, judging livestock, and I, wouldn't want it any other way. I learned how to do a lot of things in life just from these animals and pigs in specific, honestly. So go ahead and take what you can from it and run with it. It will go ahead and do a lot for your future here today. As we drop these hogs in for the 4-H show, I think there's one that still hits me really hard. When it came out in class, this is one that just came out as kind of that show pig. This one's just ultra good in terms of its look, has that show pig presence from the side, and when we start breaking down parts and pieces about it, it puts everything together. We start with the blade and the forearm, big and stout, relaxed and good in it, works back smoothly into its heart, stays good and open up in its rib, and then we watch that rear leg and how big and how functional it is. Still does a really good job there. That's going to be that young lady here with that white sock gilt. She's going to be your champion 4-H. We dropped the second place in here, and it fits quite nice in contention with the rest that are out here, and I think does a really nice job. Each individual here tonight did a great job showing. There's still one individual that hits me second best here. We talked about it in class as well, kind of being that big opened up type, having plenty of muscle and look. This one goes ahead and does kind of that coupling with that one that we have in Champion. I think you guys will like this one quite nice for second best. Gonna be the other sock gilt that young lady's driving right here in front of me.
Class 10, Julian Hurton. Okay, thank you. 71. Okay. Supreme Champion Market Hog. You handle this? Oh, clip, bro.
Congratulations to our champion 4-H Market Hog, Turquoise Stone, and our reserve 4-H Market Hog, Jillian Urton. Now we will have our selection of our Supreme and Reserve Champion Market Hog.
Oh, that's why it's smart. You want to hold that? Okay, cool. Well, actually, it's Miley Patton and Brenda's kid. Yeah.
After selection of our Supreme Champion Drive, we will have our bred and fed.
Fantastic. Always having the best time ever.
You guys come hang out with us.
Good to come see you. You're welcome.
He doesn't want to stop.
He doesn't want to stand.
Yeah, Up Hog.
Oh, they're good to stay out.
Oh, right.
The vice place? Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What are the you?
As we drop these 4 in here for the overall final drive, I keep, want to say that everybody's done an amazing job from top to bottom. We have an elite set of showmen in here in the as well, and they kind of set themselves apart here too today. I think that each one of them does a great job here. I think there's compliments and kind of some differences as well between each individual out here with their hogs and their livestock, but each one of them kind of does the same thing here. They all kind of have that shape, they've got that spread, and they've got that mass put together with them, but I think there's one, that still kind of just has that upper hand in terms of that look and that dimension. When we study this one from the side, we kind of watch that reach out of that rear leg. Still does quite a fine job. That's going to be our young lady. She'll be your overall champion here today. When we work into reserve, we want to go ahead and kind of see something that's, looking kind of in the same type and kind. And I think there's another one that's just ultra massive, ultra bold, and kind of does the same thing here. Maybe just not as clean and correct out of that rear leg, but still a really good one. Your champion FFA will be reserved here today.
It's Larissa and who else?
Jason.
One more.
And what's my last one? Sabrina. Congratulations to your Supreme Market Hog, Turquoise Stone, and Reserve Supreme Market Hog, Miley Patton.
Picture got one.
Back.
Awesome work. Great job. Yeah, awesome work. Keep it up, okay?
Got a girl, mine. Woo! Proud of you.
Thank you, John Miley. Can we get this last? What are the tag numbers off your hogs are supposed to be in here, or what is the with names on them?
That one was in the feeders, and it was 4.
Oh, okay. That one. Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I mean, it won't win. But yeah, it was out of the feeders, but it was 4.
It's fine, Laura. We gotta win it.
Yeah.
Hurry, here she comes.
Currently in the ring is your bred and fed market hog show. At the conclusion of bred and fed, we will be doing our pen of 3 in the barn.
This is our champion bred and fed class here, so we pick one individual, and I think there's one out here that just kind of brings need here in terms of, you know, the market hog standpoint, has that shape and dimension which correlates with muscle, couples it with plenty of finish and cover. I think still does an awesome job out here. That's going to be the young lady with the blue marked hog here. She'll be your champion bred and fed. The other two individuals do a great job. We're on different ends of the spectrum in terms of size and performance. Great in terms of their mass and ability to kind of get out here, but still we need to see a little bit more freshness, maybe a little bit more shape to them, but they all do a great job. Give them a big round of applause.
Okay, we'll go to the barn and just do pen of 3. I don't know. Lone Pine? Hi, buddy. How's it going?